your guys' product helps me not just communicating and kind of putting my ideas into words, because it asks clarifying questions, which,
Yeah.
I like, because one, it just doesn't automatically do something for you. It makes you think. It makes you think differently. And so for me, it helps me think about details that, such as, business things like, all right, you have this idea. All right, but is that going to align with the cost structure you're wanting, or things like that?
If you could just start by quickly introducing yourself, like what's your professional background and background building products?
Actually, and that's one of the reasons I like your guys' product so much. So I'm actually a social worker. So I do not have formal product development experience, but I do actually, like, I'm trying to pivot in that direction. But I would say I'm kind of like, I have a lot of ideation, and one of my problems is when I'm trying to get these concepts or these products out, I do so in a very poor way. um, and I know that they're good ideas, because, like, when I'm able to communicate them, for instance, like, I was able to get help, and I got a patent. But that process, like, was a while, trying to get that communication dialogue. Um, and so your guys' product helps me, and I was using it earlier for some, actually, like, right before this, but on not just communicating and kind of putting my ideas into words, because it asks clarifying questions, which,
Yeah.
I like, because one, it just doesn't automatically do something for you. It makes you think. It makes you think differently. And so for me, it helps me think about details that, such as, business things like, all right, you have this idea. All right, but is that going to align with the cost structure you're wanting, or things like that? So I like that it makes you think differently, and it doesn't just do it for you. Because that's where, like, shitty products or shitty things get made, because it's just assuming.
Yeah.
And so I like that, as well as, like, it's not overwhelming. Like, it breaks it down into, like, manageable parts. So for instance, like, it helps me learn where I'm good at seeing things. For instance, like, I was able to catch something that, the process would have overlooked, in terms of some of my interests have to do with healthcare innovation. And, it didn't catch the part where, HIPAA, making sure that, when I was designing this one thing, kind of like reminding it, like, oh, I forgot to bring up, HIPAA, and how can we make sure that this is, you know, um, passes HIPAA, like, requirements, things like that. And it's like, oh yeah, good call. And then it does its research into, like, how to do that. What needs to happen. So it's like, I might think of something, but then it helps me apply it. So that's a really long explanation to what I do. But anyways, so social work, and the way I like the reason I like the program is because I want to get out of social work directly, but I'm having a lot of problems doing so. So the other thing it gives is, in a way, like, this sounds pathetic, is hope. Like,
Yeah.
that I can get these ideas out to some, possibly not, one, if they suck, they suck, and this kind of will help evaluate that and make them better. But, I enjoy doing this, and I don't particularly enjoy my job right now.
Yeah, I get that.
So this, like I said, hope, but also, like, not false hope, I would hope. Anyways.
Yeah, so it sounds like it's been helping with like structure and also helping you validate your ideas to make sure
Mm-hmm.
they don't suck.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you tried building with other AI tools before, like maybe ChatGPT or Gemini or something like that?
Yeah. And that, I think this one, it goes in, like, it goes into more detail, and the fact that, it doesn't just spit out something to spit out something. It's going to act, like I said, the clarifying question part I like, because that makes one, it's going to make a better detailed response and also allow you to not like ChatGPT. I feel like when you're building something, the research isn't as good. I find a lot of issues, it's like they might say, oh, here's the market is, there's no one in the market doing this kind of thing. And then you're like, oh, cool. But then you do research on your own and realize that's not exactly true. The ChatGPT just missed it.
Yeah.
Or it doesn't ask you those critical questions like that make you decide. Like, I like the part where, one of the things that your guys' product does is kind of say, okay, well, here are, like what you've entered in or that you're wanting, and here is, if you're wanting to go position your product to this market, you might want to consider this. But if you have, so it kind of like explains to you, it makes suggestions, explains to you why it's making that suggestion, and then giving you the choice to kind of decide, critically think like, all right, what am I trying to produce? One of the things with me, like, my kind of back, belief and or kind of theory of what, I don't know what the word would be. When it comes to AI, I agree with the concern that, there is the issue of losing how to critically think about things. If you use ChatGPT to do all the critical thinking for you, I think that is a problem. What I think AI can be amazing for is allowing you to have information. So ChatGPT, this can give you information that you can then critically apply in new meaningful ways.
Yeah.
Information does not equal, knowledge, and that does not equal innovation. It's like you have information, then you create it into knowledge by mastering it. And this frees up time for that, in my opinion. And it also makes you critically think about, all right, here's this information we want you to think about. All right, do you know what you're talking about? All right, if you know what you're talking about, then apply it in the way that you want. Rather than, spitting out an answer and then you being like, oh, that's a great idea, and maybe it's not. I don't know.
Yeah. I'm glad to hear that that AI co-founder is helping you, like as a newer founder. So
I've already recommended it to two people. Actually, one of them, I'm like a peon in my company, like no one knows me, but there's actually like one guy that, through networking, he's like a senior director, not even in social work or anything. He's in software development. But we've been meeting for about 2 years now. We talk about faith, but then also work, and he's kind of helped me with some of my ideas and kind of validating them and things like that. But recommended the program to him, and he actually asked about it this morning, like, because he really, really likes it. And for me, it's really, really helpful because I'm not good at that kind of stuff. But to know that, all right, he's a senior director in software and engineering or whatever, and he really likes it, that says something as well, in my opinion.
yeah, I'm glad to hear that. Can I also quickly ask you what made you go with the pro plan? Like what made you actually commit to that?
I started using it, the free thing, then it was like, wow, like this is giving me quality structure, this is giving me quality responses, like I'm kind of cheap. And so for me to spend like I thought $99 I was like, that's not bad, like compared to other things. And also in terms of what it's allowing me to do. My goal in my career is to try to get these ideas out, or at least, even if the ideas suck, at least allow me to learn how to speak and think in a way that aligns with where I want to go, then that's worth it. Because obviously what I'm doing now is not. So that's kind of why I went with the pro plan, because one, it helps with structuring the ideas, and two, it helps me build the skill set and the thinking skill set that I feel like will be important for my future.